So, Senator, let's talk election 2020. Okay, well, it looks as though Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden, will be the nominee against Trump.
Yep.
Now, you and I both know that Trump plays dirty. You know that. So how dirty exactly is it going to get, do you think?
I don't know how dirty it's going to get, but I think it's going to be a contest of directions. I mean, Joe Biden's a fine fellow, a good guy. I've known him for years. He'll be a tough opponent for President Trump, but it's going to be about where you want the country to go. Can you believe in climate change and not support the Green New Deal? I think so. You know, it's socialism versus capitalism. There's going to be so many big choices the American people can make. I think it's going to be an exciting election, and I like President Trump's chances. I really do.
Okay, let me ask a follow-up on what you just said, because the Republicans suddenly seem to have gotten on board embracing democratic socialism with some of these measures, things like paid sick leave, unemployment insurance, free testing and health coverage. Aren't you worried that Americans will like these things so much and want to keep them? What are you going to do then?
Actually, that's a really good question. I was talking to my colleagues about that. There's a time for big government. Big government helped us get through World War II. That's when we had the Defense Production Act back then. Instead of making cars, we're making tanks and planes. There's definitely a time for the government, and we need to work on our broken unemployment systems at the state level. There's an all-hands-on-deck approach at the Department of Labor. But what is the most sustainable way to keep the economy strong? It's not perpetual big government. It's relying on the private sector in partnership with the government. So I'm okay with helping people who have just been devastated get back on their feet. But I don't want to have a health care system where the federal government decides who gets what when. I want the private sector involved in health care. And finally, you're going to see a breakthrough in the vaccine, not come from the federal government, but from the private sector. Don't destroy the goose that laid the golden egg when it comes to medical technology.
Hi, Lindsey. It's Megan again. Dr. Fauci said that he could not guarantee that it would be safe to vote in person by Election Day. Do you think that mail-in ballots is something that we should be considering?
I think every state should have that option, but I don't want to mandate voting by mail. I'm hopeful by November we'll have a vaccine around the corner, drug therapies that lessen the effect on human beings so they don't have to go to the hospital, and that we'll have mass testing and have the economy actually moving forward. So from my point of view, you have absentee voting in South Carolina if you can't go to the polls, but I don't want to mandate national mail-in voting. I don't want a national mail-in voting system. Let the states determine. But I do believe if we do our job right, come November, we're going to have turned the corner on drug therapies and we get back to more normal society.
Senator, before we go, you are up for re-election, and you are likely to be running against a man named Jamie Harrison in what some say is actually going to be a pretty tight race. And it was announced last night that Jamie Harrison outraised you by $2 million last quarter. Are you concerned about this opponent?
Yeah, send money, help me. Yeah, I've known Jamie. Jamie's a good guy. Went to Yale, a very accomplished man. He was chairman of the Democratic Party. I like my chances, but I take nothing for granted. And I'm excited about choosing a president in November. I'm excited about my state being able to evaluate me. But right now, I'm more focused on making sure that we come out of this smartly. We don't open up the economy at the sake of our own health, that we develop drugs that lessen the effect on this and eventually get a vaccine. We're in a war with this virus, and I intend to win it. We're going to starve it, bomb it, and kill it. We'll have an election in November, and I make a prediction. I think I win.